Hello and welcome back to a Kooky Corner of YouTube. Today we're going to be making cupcakes, but calorie-free ones. Yesterday was my birthday and I sent a little piece of cake to everybody in the community here on YouTube via a photograph and also on my group in Facebook. And I promised that I would do a little template for making your own cupcake so that you can also make your own calorie-free cupcakes. They're great for birthday cards, for framing as a little present, first birthdays for babies. You know, it's a really nice little thing. You could do it in all different colours. You can see that mine's very bright and bold, but you can pick your own colours for this, and it's a great way to use up scraps of fabric. So let's have a little look at how this one goes together. I've got it on a background here at the minute because I'm going to put this one on a greetings card for someone. But they can equally be on a bigger piece. It could be framed, it could be put as a patch on the front of a fabric journal. Whatever you can think of to do with your little cupcake, you can do. But it's really quite simple to make, and I'll just go through the steps with you now. So the first thing you need is the pattern. You could quite easily draw one of these out yourself if you wanted to, but for my Facebook group members, there is a pattern that you can download. It will be in the file section. If you want to join the Facebook group, the details are down below. It's all free. There's no charge for anything. It's just, that's where I'm keeping all my little files for projects for this kind of thing. So yes, the pattern will be in the file section on the Facebook group, and you can easily download it, print it off, and then cut out your pieces. Now what I've been using for this little sample, it's like a stiff craft felt, more like an interfacing. I've used it for a lot of things and it works really well as a backing for your cupcake. So, and it's also really easy to cut as well. It's like a super easy to cut out and it holds its shape. It's not floppy like a piece of felt would be, and it's also very thin. So for card purposes, if you're posting a card, it's probably better to go a bit thinner anyway. Anyway, I digress. So you need to cut out your pieces. You'll have a top frosting part and you'll have a bottom cupcake part. Now you can see that obviously is bigger than that, but this means that that can be positioned on top quite easily so that you can then decorate the bottom half as maybe I've done here. You could do it, you could leave it plain. You don't have to put a face on it if you don't want to. But this is just me. I put faces on everything. Faces and glitter. That's the way I roll. Anyway, you could do however you want to with whatever colours you want to do it, as I said. So you're going to need your pattern pieces. The other thing you're going to need is some way of decorating the top. Now you could do the top in one piece, you could do it in two pieces, or you could use up the tiniest little scraps. Let me get my frog dish. This is Filbert. Let me show you Filbert there. Oh no, it's not the frog, it's a crocodile. I have got a frog dish. This is my crocodile. So this is Christopher. Every crocodile thing that I own is called Christopher. So this is Christopher the crocodile. And you can see in Christopher, I've got all these tiny, weeny little bits of fabric. And that's what I used for my cupcake. You can use bigger pieces, you could use whole pieces, but I'm showing you how I made this one, and so we'll go through it. So on your base, you're going to want to lay out your pieces in true Blue Peter style. Here is one that I've laid out as I've done the other ones. So you're picking out the tiny bits, and you can do two ways. You could pin this, or you could use fabric glue, which is probably the sensible way to go, just to get all these stuck down onto your piece one at a time. If you lay it out as I've done here, take a picture of it, and then you'll be able to lay it down as is here, or however you've laid it out, so you've got a little resource to look back on and see where each piece went. So yeah, play around with your fabrics. Tiniest little piece. These are the tiniest pieces that you could hardly ever use for anything else, and they work perfectly for this. So lay them out. It doesn't matter. You want them to kind of overlap a little bit of your piece. So if I lay that one on top, you can see it's overlapping, but we trim all that afterwards once we've got it all in place. So have a little play around with your bits, and I'll show you what comes next. So when you've got all your pieces stuck down, you're quite happy, then what I would tend to do, you can do this two ways. You can do the stitching bit first and then trim, or you can then trim and stitch. I've done it both ways, to be honest. I've done a stitch and trim or a trim and stitch. It doesn't really matter. It's how you feel happiest. So I'd kind of grab a pair of sharp scissors. I've got my little sharp scissors here. And then as the other one had all the bits on it, you just trim around. I turn it over sometimes just to trim around. And then with a loaded up thread, this one is the Aurifil Marrakesh, my favourite for doing things like this. It is 3817. I've got a big reel of it here. You can get two sizes of this, two different sizes. One's a smaller one, this one's a bigger one because I use it so much. And what I did here, I started at a point down in this bottom corner here, and I've just running stitched all my way around, and I've gone round in a spiral basically, so that gives it a kind of a random texture. If I've got bits that are sticking up, I've just gone back in with another stitch, and this gives the effect of sprinkles on your cupcake frosting. That's what I like to think anyway. So yeah, I could have actually put another couple more there, but I think that's all basically down. Then for the edging, I've just gone with an oversew stitch, so that's just going in and out and around on the edge. It's not a blanket stitch. You don't really need to blanket stitch this smaller piece. And to be honest, the backing is not going to be shown, so it doesn't really matter. So just an oversew or a whip stitch all the way around in a tiny little stitch, all the way around all the little bits. And you can also, like here, if I've got a little piece sticking up, I'm just going very gently and trim it out if I want to be really precise about it, which is also what you can do. You're now at this stage, and the next thing you want to do, or you can do if you'd like to, is add in some decoration. Now I've got some little tiny multicoloured beads here that I've put on, and also then have gone in with one of these. Now this has the added benefit of any edges that are still stuck up, it will kind of hold them down, because it is a kind of glue, isn't it? But it's a glitter glue, so you get a little bit of sheen on there as well. Maybe you don't want that. Maybe you don't want a bit of glitter on it. That's absolutely fine. Just make sure all the pieces are stuck down and well. You can see that is not going to go anywhere without any glue on it at all. So that's at that stage. Then the cherry on the top, I've used a button. You could equally use another piece of fabric or felt, or you could make little cherry shapes with a little leaf on. However you want to go with it. It's your cupcake, you decorate it how you want to. And that will be your top part finished. So the bottom part is the cake part, and I call this like the bit with the, it's like the cupcake casing, but when it's been taken out of the case, if you know what I mean. I hope you know what I mean. With this, really simple, two little pieces of felt to make the cheeks, and for the eyes I've gone with the little brads. Let me get my pot of brads out. This is where I keep all my eyeballs. There we go. So little tiny 5 or 4mm brads make perfect eyes. I've mentioned this before. I think these were from Amazon, but you can get them from all kinds of places, and they are perfect for this. And I just mark out where I want my eyes to be, and using an awl I will punch a little hole through, put my brads in, and then you've got the eyes as well. The little mouth is just a line of stitching, and then I've fly stitched it. So in the middle I've gone down into the middle of it there and just done a tiny little stitch to hold that in place. As I said, you don't have to do a face on your cupcakes, but I always will. And it really is down to you and what kind of a cake you're making. On there I have running stitched up and down with a brown thread, just to give the impression of the lines that you get when you like the cupcake cases. They always leave a little impression. Again, that's an optional. You can do it or not do it. But what you want to do then, imagine this one's stitched, is position your frosting on the top, avoiding where the eyes are. You can actually do that first and then put your eyes in for that bit if you wanted to. That's up to you, completely up to you. And as I said, this is a really simple one this week, because I'm busy celebrating, you know. I've got cake to eat, actual real cake. Don't tell anybody. I've got a lemon drizzle. I've also got a Colin and Caterpillar cake, but yeah, two cakes, Tory, that's what I am. So anyway, yes, back to what we were saying. Once your cupcake is finished, you could put him on another piece of stitched background. So that's again the felt on the back with the little pieces there, just to give him a little bit of something to sit on. And then that could be either framed, so you could put it in a tiny little frame. I've got these frames here. These are Hobbycraft frames. It could possibly fit in one of these. Just having a little look now. So you could put it in a shadow box frame. That would work. So, and then give that as a gift, or you could make it into a greetings card and it could just go onto the front of a greetings card. How I would position this, you could stitch it on if you wanted to, or you could use my trusty felt and foam tacky glue. Well, it's not mine, it's Aileen's. That's what I'd use for that, and then that would go onto the front of a card quite easily. So yeah, short and sweet, very simple, very sweet, and you make yourself a kooky cupcake to send to a friend or to frame for yourself. You can make a whole series of them and frame them up. You could have 4 together, all different kinds of cupcake. That'd be cool, wouldn't it? So you could then frame that. The choice is yours, but I hope you'll enjoy making up a kooky cupcake of your own, and if you do, I would like to see what you do with it. So a few ways you can share it. You could go into Instagram and tag me so that I can have a little look. If you're on Facebook, the best way is to go into my Facebook group and join. It's free. And then you'll be able to show me what you've been making and how you've interpreted this little project. Have a wonderful weekend. I will be back here soon with lots of other things. My mind is whirring with all the different things I want to show you. And hopefully I'll be able to get them out so that you can see them pretty soon. Don't forget as well, if you're doing the kooky postcards, sew along. You've got another week or so to get your postcard made and ready, and then that will be added into the reel that will go out at the end of the month. That's enough waffle from me. Bye for now.